Hello, everybody, and welcome to part 10 of my Inca El Dorado series. Unlike most parts, we ended the last clip at the start of a turn rather than at the end. That's not normally my style, but I really didn't want to leave on the cliffhanger of whether we get Machu Picchu or not. We did, and in fact, in the city of Machu, so perhaps we should rename that to Machu Picchu. A couple things I was looking at off camera, the first of which is Melbourne. Their borders have grown to encompass wine, which means that if we were to ally them, not only would we get the happiness we get for friending a mercantile city-state, but look at that, we'd get three luxuries. So this is a very juicy city-state for us. On the other hand, we did just get caravels, so there's a good chance we'll find and our scouts are finishing up on that. I should point that out. Our scouting game is going to get as good as it can get. This quest never pops up if there are no more natural wonders for you to find. So there is going to be at least one more out there. I haven't bothered counting the ones we found. But my point is we will satisfy that quest. We're already on point for the tech quest, so we'll probably get them naturally. We might not have to spend anything on that, but even still, it's worth noting because as the game goes on and people start fighting for city-states, we want this one to be ours, just for the phenomenal amount of happiness that we would get from it. Speaking of phenomenal amount of happiness, I think I alluded to towards the end of the last part that I would like to try for physics. That's in 3 turns, and it says the capital will build the workshop in 3 turns, which is nice. But one thing I was thinking of is the one thing I don't want to neglect while trying to learn how to chase wonders and stuff is military. Military is something that I've always had a weakness with, especially with tradition. It seems so tempting to just build, build, build. But we have a couple of unruly neighbors, not so much Washington, but Poland. So what I was thinking of, let's check this out. We're at 48.6 hammers here, right? What if we bought the workshop in the capital right now? It'd bring us up to 55, right? And we did just finish building a pikeman, and that was good. But if we look here, swordsman, 75 hammers. And we do have iron right now. Composite bowman, 75 hammers. Horseman, 75 hammers. So obviously 75 times 2 is 150. So even though all 3 of these units say 2, we would be at 55 hammers per turn. We'd be able to build 2 within 3 turns. And that's exactly how long we have until we'd want the capital to start building Notre Dame. Now the reason I bring this up is because if you look at our techs, my idea at this point, unless I can think of a reason to deviate from it, is to head to physics just for the purpose of being able to build Notre Dame in the capital. I don't know how long that's going to take, but I think afterwards I'd like to research chivalry into banking so that we can then build the Forbidden Palace. And a quick side note, when I was mentioning the patronage opener, I was mentioning the 2 delegates. I don't think I talked so much about the happiness, and the happiness is the most important part of that. So that is why, part of the reason why I chose patronage over the commerce. So anyways, roadmap would be physics into chivalry banking. And then I would like to go machinery into printing press. We want to get printing press not only so that we can build the Leaning Tower of Pisa, because I think that's a good wonder, both for the free people and the great people points. But also keep in mind we have religious text as a belief, so that gets stronger once we hit printing press. So we do want to get there sooner rather than later. On the other hand, we do have a caravel right now. We're about to get a second one, so we're going to be scouting the waters. We will almost certainly find little islands that have like city-states on them, maybe barbarian camps, you know, stuff that our military could get to that nobody else can right now. So keeping in mind the roadmap of physics into banking, into printing press, it might come to pass that at some point along the time we want to take a quick side jog for steel. And this is relevant because we want to keep our military score relevant. We want to do that anyways because the people around us are getting stronger and stronger. And we also want to do this because with caravels going out in the world and finding stuff to do in the water, we might start pulling a military unit or two away from our empire just to go deal with that. So it'd be nice to have a little bit of extra on the home front in case that's what ends up happening. Anyways, to bring this long rant to a head, we're about to hit chivalry machinery and to some extent steel. So I'm thinking the whole buy the workshop, build a couple units now while we have that window just before upgrade. Because earlier in the series we waited until composite bowmen to build any archer units. And part of that is because I don't like the slinger, but also part of it was because back then we just didn't have the money. It was easier to build the upgraded unit than it was to build the lesser one and then try to spend money. Now the things are exact opposite. We have lots of money, and yeah, we do have lots of hammers, but there's other things we'd like to devote that to, the hammers, I mean. So I think now maybe let's build a couple units here just before we can pay to upgrade them. The money flows fine on a turn-by-turn basis. We'll have money to upgrade all the units we have in the time it takes us to get those techs. So I'm thinking, since chivalry will come first, let's go ahead and build a horseman. We don't have any mounted units, and having one speedy guy will be nice. Yeah, once the pikemen get to lancers, that'll be that. But you know what? Yeah, I still want to have one speedy guy right now. I was kind of second guessing myself now, but let's do a horseman, and then after that we can do a composite bowman. And the composite bowman can be our garrison in Cusco. We'll send this catapult down to Machu or something. Anyways, now that that's all addressed, that's just some things I was thinking about, because one of the things that I was concerned is that chasing after wonders and then chasing after the buildings that I gave up to build those wonders, when are we going to have time for military? Because anytime I play, I don't know about you guys, but once I start getting into this segment, I get backlogged. We want to build banks, we want to build opera houses, we want to build windmills, we want to build public schools, right? Factories. So the build queues get pretty jammed up right around that point in time. And so I don't know when we're going to have time to build military. So I kind of want to do it now. I hope that makes sense. Let me know what you guys think, of course. Cool. Always. That's an open-ended invitation. I always want to know what you guys think. I explain my thought process as kind of like a check. Where am I going wrong? Where's my blind spots? Things like that. Can you guys help me? Because I'm trying to help people also. Anyways, let's get into physics. We'll be able to upgrade to a trebuchet as well as get started on Notre Dame. A lot of talking, gotta clear the throat real quick. I get dry throat, it's not like I'm sick or sore throat or anything like that. Just the way my throat's shaped, my voice kind of slams into the underside. And anyways, so we'll get to the observatory here, since we were building Machu Picchu. Says we're getting a great scientist in this city in 5 turns. Also says we're growing in 5 turns. So we'll probably plant the academy on this grasslands and put the new citizen right there. So we have these 2 plains farms that are not being worked, which means this worker is free. We don't have to stick to the plains. So I just want to hop up on this hill, get that finished. In case we find ourselves in a situation where we want 3 good production tiles instead of just the 2. That's something I was thinking about too off camera as far as like future games. I think in a city, once I have a food trade route going to it, I think I'll have that city work 1 good production tile. Especially in a city like this where it's got 2, we could stay locked into 1. All new hires, go to the new other one, and then we can slot them back in. And that way, growth is still pretty steady, and we can get a little extra hammers to get these buildings kicked out to try and avoid backups in the build queue. And the reason for that is because if backups in the build queue are resolved, then those cities can build military. And this is one of the reasons why I didn't like the idea of chasing wonders, because in the past, that's the one time I did actually address military a little bit, was when my build queues seemed satisfied. Okay. Because I was even thinking, like, what if we did try to go for Alhambra? I've read some things about you get, all these buildings stacked up and you can produce new units with, like, multiple promotions. And I'm like, well, if we're playing a peaceful game and we haven't been building units all this game, that sounds like a really good idea. Pick a city, stack up all those military, and then use that to produce new units that are well promoted. And, that way you can kind of go toe-to-toe with the people around you who are being all nasty-like. Anyways, Cusco loves the king, so that's good. More free growth. Furs, copper. Okay, so we got 2 copies of copper That's fun to say. Coming back, same turn. And the reason why that matters is because we actually have one of our city-state allies wants copper. So we need to keep one to ourselves. So let's sell off one to Casimir because he has a lump sum available for us. We'll say 1. He won't go for it. 207. Close enough. And this is nice because if he does decide to backstab us at one point, we get to keep the lump sum and we get our copper back. So this is more of an incentive for him to not war us. I think we're relatively safe in the fact that we're building even more units. We just built a pikeman. We're now building a horseman, which will become a knight momentarily. And then we'll build another composite bowman. So I think he's off our back for the time being. Before I decide that, I did notice we have multiple workers finishing up. Yep, and 2 of them are actually in this city. That's kind of what I wanted to address. Let's see, 3 and 5. Oh, down to 2 and 5. That one food actually made a difference. It usually doesn't at this level. I just try to favor the food. But that's pretty nice. And now when we're in the city screen to prove select our next project, we can also go ahead and do this. Yeah, those hammers are dipping low, but the food's going up significantly, so we'll be able to start working on these tiles sooner rather than later. So it'll work out eventually. Anyways, let's get a workshop going in here. Yes, I know we don't have much hammers, but this will help. And then as we fill in more, we'll just, expand upon them. Yep, do that to mine up for me if you please. And there we go. This scout eyeballs is ready to start coming back to the home front. And that's another thing too, like we do have, as our scouts are out there finishing up what they need to do, we do have units that are just sitting here for their visibility. We can bring the scouts in. Probably plant eyeballs on this hill just for now. And then when the other guy comes back, we'll plant him here because this isn't terribly important. We do have one guy kind of covering it. It's not terribly important because it's bordering with other people as well. But down here we have a widespread. Not quite as important because our borders have been growing, so I don't know how necessary this configuration is. But we can have eyeballs come down here like from this hill and just keep an eye on everything. And then the other guy can come up on this hill. And that's assuming we don't need to throw them in the water. If we happen to find a landmass, for example, that has a ruin and no barbarians to fight, then we'll just have a scout go fetch the ruin. And who knows, maybe we even get an upgrade ruin, which would make them a little more relevant. They'd have the slinger disadvantage, but obviously we're at the stage in the game where that slinger differentiation is actually a buff. Okay, it's really good that we're allied with Panama City, otherwise we might not have gotten through this traffic route, or traffic jam. Okay, let's see, Quebec City, blah, blah, blah. Don't much care about that. Copper connected for Wellington, so now we can sell off our other copper. Right now our happiness kind of requires we hold on to it. He must have gotten copper from somewhere else because it's not even showing up as an option. That's okay. We between buying city-states and, of course, Notre Dame, if we can get it, our happiness is going to be such that we'll just be able to sell off everything that's ours. And the only real downside to that is that if city-states say, oh, can you get us furs, for example, then we're going to have to like trade at a loss just to satisfy that. But the short-term gains means we buy city-states, etc., etc. So it's perfectly fine. All right, horseman is finished. Let's do composite bowman now. Where would we like the horseman stationed? We don't want to take him out of our empire because he's about to be upgraded. I didn't even really give this much thought. Where would we want the horsemen? I guess near the borders, because if war does happen, they're going to be good for stealing workers and pillaging tiles and stuff. So somewhere up here-ish. Let's hide him right there, kind of like behind this mountain thingy. Like right there. He's behind the road. He can get to, or behind the mountain. He can get to places quick, I guess. I don't know. Let's see here. 1 turn until growth. So let's chop this down and then put a plains farm in. It's better than a grasslands farm. It does kind of burn my bottom that we lost this tile, because as the city grows and grows, it'll be nice to slot them into some pseudo growth tiles. And of course, once we hit fertilizer, this becomes just like our civil service river. Anyways, this guy we're going to rename Trader Joe, because the act of putting up a trading post pretty much takes him out of the game, so that is going to be his identity for the rest of this era, perhaps. We'll keep on heading there. We'll bend back here just to pick up that extra tile. Might have to do a little bending back up here too, but we do have the scout coming, so maybe they meet. Obviously the scout is only 40% as fast, so that's something. Okay, physics is here, so let's go to our capital. We will upgrade. Stacked unit, right. So we're going to stash this guy, so we'll move him max radius -1. Happens to still be on our border, so we'll use that opportunity to upgrade. And then we'll head into Machu, which means this guy can just chill. And then Notre Dame, of course. That's the other thing for physics. We'll get into Notre Dame. 7 turns, right? And we'll be into banking in currently 8 turns. We are still growing, but with the universities up, the amount that growth affects our rate of tech is much smaller now. So I don't know that we could rely on that to speed it up by a turn. When we grow next turn... Oh, now the... Okay, we must have grown in the capital or something, because now the scientist is saying it's going to be... I wonder why that was. Oh, maybe I made that estimation before the We Love the King Day, which expedited the next citizen. That's probably what it was. Anyways, let's chop that down. Oops. Yeah, we don't much care about that tile just this second. Olan grows. So let's see. 7 and 3. 7 and 3. Same thing, but this has more food, so we'll do that. Let's see. T1 grows. Alright, so we can start doing the backfilling. Nice. This guy is Trader Joe, so get on it. This guy, I'm just going to chop this down to expedite the workshop. Obviously, I think developing this tile is the next best target. So we'll chop that down, put 1 turn on mine, come up here, do Terrence Farm. Can no longer construct Hagia Sophia. That's item number 4. Portugal allies. Poland allies. I don't like to see that. I don't know if that increases their resolve as far as like warring, knowing that this can't come at them from the side, or that they have these extra units fighting alongside them. Kind of. That's not going to happen. I don't like those quests. And then, of course, item number 4 is Hagia Sophia, which is fine. It produces a profit, not nearly as good as Barometer, because the missionaries are cheaper, it's easier to lose, and they're more mobile, so they do what they do more quickly. Maybe not as effectively, but... Anyways, Petra. Somebody earlier in the series said you might consider building Petra and Colossus for the extra trade routes. I totally understand that, but the thing you got to remember about Petra is it requires that the city is either on or next to a desert tile, and none of our cities qualify. We do have this patch of desert right here, but unfortunately that's next to El Dorado, not the actual city. So we couldn't have built Petra even if we had the time and will to do so. But I still appreciate the tip, because I'm not used to that. Although that one, I think it was a Spain game where we were on the coast, lots of whales. I did build Petra and then expand, and it turned out to be absolutely amazing. It's probably one of the reasons why the victory in that game came so easily, is because Petra made a god city out of one of the expands. 3, 4, 5. We will have to bend back to get some visibility here, but we're probably nearing the hard ice edge. Looks like we're good to pass. We got to keep in mind Sidon wants gold. I don't know when we missed that, but I want to keep an eye on that. Looks like the hard ice level might be right here, so we'll just keep our boat, 4 or 5, whatever its visibility is off of that, and go from there. Probably. That's what it's looking like. Alright, so that tile's now in. We can just go ahead and chop. I think workshop's next, so we'll expedite it. But even still, I mean, we got to keep in mind 35 hammers there. 33 hammers here, so yeah, I was late to building the observatory, and look, it's gonna finish it quicker. Alright, so that works. Okay, so let's look at this. 5 and 5. 4 and 6. If we lock both of them in. I mean, on the one hand, we kind of do have the time to give. On the other hand, if somebody else is building Notre Dame, because we could be considered a little late getting to physics. Okay. This is a good balance. Oh, you know what? Scientist is coming up next turn anyway, so we would have to move one to the food anyways. Yeah, so we'll just leave it like this for the time being. Well, you know what? If we're not actually quickening, let's do the max hammers here, and then when the scientists come out, we can try clicking again. Maybe we can speed this up by a turn without reducing it by a turn because we picked up these extra hammers. That's something worth checking out, probably. Iron is finished, so let us find a new home. Or perhaps the same home. I didn't see who it was. Oh, this sucks. We actually end our turn. It would have been, if we had just one movement point, we could have upgraded. Now it's going to take us 3 turns to upgrade and heal up. 'Tis unfortunate. Alrighty, eyeballs can stick around there for now. That means this guy's free to, say, defend on the gold, perhaps. Melee in the north. Yeah, probably. A good mix of melee, too. Alrighty, let's see. We'll go bend to hard ice line is there-ish. So we can probably see... Yeah, we see ice there. That's good enough. Let's start actually scouting, not just following the coast. Alrighty, let's hop on this. He's here. He's responsible for Cusco, so let's just do what we can. I don't know how much we'll be needing those tiles, but we can at least keep moving, keep improving. Because there will come a point in time where these farms will produce an extra food, and at that time we're going to want to do all of them. Great person born. So we'll just go splat. There's that. And now let's hope. 5 and 4. 4 and 4. Okay, so this way we can speed up the turn. Oh wait, I thought it said 5 last turn, didn't it? 4 and 5. Yeah, definitely not that. Okay, this is the best of both worlds. We'll just do that. Nice even split. Melbourne recognizes your great scientist. I didn't even know they asked for one. They asked for a great scientist this turn. Look at that. And we're going to probably get this, and we're probably going to get that. So we're going to get Melbourne for free. That is awesome. I like that. A good amount, too, so that if somebody else tries to buy in, we can resist that to some extent. Okay, definitely workshop next, and then we can finally catch up on all the lesser buildings. Okay, we do need to spend our money on this, and then of course the knight. And then at that point we'll have a break in the action. Maybe we can afford to buy a city-state in between there. We'll set up. And you are free. This hops the river, gets us to the gold next turn. You just chill. Caravan was going to Cusco, I think. Yep, we'll keep that on. You know what? I wasn't even looking at that. So 4 and 4. Still 4 and 5. Okay, so this is still the best of both worlds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not seeing any food. Not seeing any apples, I should say. Okay, we have a chop here. Workshop in 5. Workshop in 3. It speeds it up by 2 turns. That's how low production this is. The chopping of a forest speeds up a project by 2 turns, not just the 1. That's incredible. Obviously, chopping never finishes the builds, just like a great engineer cannot. So the extra hammers will spill over to the next project, which I think is the workshop in that city. Okay, so we came up a tile higher than we needed to, but we didn't know that. And it may have introduced us to the hard ice line, which this boat is missing by 1 tile, but I don't see that as being a problem. And that's assuming I'm interpreting what I'm seeing correctly. Trying to keep it, your eye level as you're scrolling horizontally is not the easiest thing. People that like to smile the most. Are you threatening me? Because we can build Notre Dame.
So pulleth out the sword of the
Alright, chivalry is here. I personally am not well versed enough for Alhambra, so you guys can feel free to yell at me for not going after that right now. Second pagoda, probably in Machu. Not really. Not really, because look at the spread. We're gonna have to buy the sheep tile, which means the only other tile this could grow to that we would care about is this river tile. So, oh, and it's looking to grab the mountains next. Egads. And I know cities like to grab water tiles for whatever reason. I don't think we can put fishing boats down here, though, can we? We need actual resources there, so it's not like we can improve those tiles ever. Um, well, this is our other border city, so let's put the second pagoda here. I know we're working El Dorado, so the culture's already pretty hyped, but like I said, this is a border city, so grab as many tiles as you can, because this is still stuck in my crawl. Golden Age is over, and that really only matters to us in the context of the culture ramping down. Gold, we're doing fine anyways. Production, we're doing fine anyways. Oh, you know what? Production, that's something I hadn't considered. Well, Notre Dame's still one turn behind growth, so I'm assuming that the loss of the Golden Age does not slow down Notre Dame. Okay, chivalry's done, so on into banking, which will be done in 4 turns, just like Notre Dame. So that's a nice piece of timing. We will have to keep in mind that we're going to need to spit out a cargo ship at that time. Let's get that workshop up. Alright, so we'll just put a turn in on the mine here and then head to a terrace farm next turn. Chop chop from 3 to 3. See, this is what you want to see. Like, production's so good that the chopping of a forest doesn't even, like, speed it up. That's how good our hammers here are. Okay. Anyways, before I forget, I kind of glossed over it. We did finish up our wine for cocoa deal. So we could just sell the wine off. That puts our happiness in a precarious position. We did just buy the pagoda. We're going to grow in 4, grow in 3, grow in 3. So we're about to lose 4 happiness over the next 4 turns. We're friendly with them. We just picked up some then, right? Yeah, 3 happiness from them. Okay. My thing is that Notre Dame is not guaranteed at this moment. So I don't want to like sell off our wine, be strapped, and be like, oh, how soon? 4 turns. We have the lead with 8 technologies, and in 4 turns we're going to pick up another one. I don't know if it counts once completed same turn or not. Probably not. I don't know. That would jump us up to ally, at which point we get 12 happiness here. I'm going to risk it. I'm going to risk it because we have ways. We still have happiness buildings we haven't built and stuff. So we do have ways to...
All right.
Oh, and it still says we have the copper we can get rid of. All right. Anyways, we do have ways to get that happiness back up in the event that the timing on this somehow gets scooped from us and we fail Notre Dame. So I'm confident that we can sell off that wine and still be okay. All right. That guy's in a position now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, food. Food. Look at this. Archer, archer. Okay. Should we have the pikemen come and represent? I think so. Yeah, because we had this guy sliding over anyways. If I had known that, I'd have come over here, but we can do that next turn. In fact, I'll even be nice to like park it here and then jump there so we're not outside of our borders so we don't get his panties in a bunch. Okay, so yeah, we'll have to figure out how that works out. Next turn, the caravel can get better eyes on the landmass, so we can figure out where, because our pikemen's down more towards the middle of the world, and our caravel's more towards the north. Borders of Cusco grown, hill, optics stolen, unidentified. That's unfortunate. Alrighty, it's not that big of a deal. It'd just be nice to upgrade our scout or spy. Alright, so I'm seeing hill, hill, hill. So coming in won't actually get us any more visibility. If we come around the north, we'll actually be at risk of getting shot. So let's see if we can get better visibility coming down. Oh, looks like it's a small one. I wasn't realizing this was the end. We can curve here. And we got 3 archers, so a single pikeman should be able to handle all of that. Might get a little bit of eyes on the backside, but I don't want to get in range, obviously. Alright, so you were coming here, do a Terrence farm. Oh, look, we couldn't have ended up there if we wanted to. See, I'm being nicer than him. I'm staying in my borders. Okay, so going to this. Ideally, we would want to land on this hill. So, um, let's say 3, 2, 1, 0. Launching from here or just south would be optimum. So let's try and trace that over. Okay, so to be safe, let's like go level with Melbourne tile. And we do have a little bit of cloud here. So yeah, we'll have this guy head 1, 2, 3. We'll stay in the deep water just because we can. So we'll go level with Melbourne and then head west. That'll be our mile marker, so to speak. Oops, I almost chose the wrong option here. Alright, heal up one more turn and then we'll have another scout, which is nice because that means this caravel can continue scouting, and then if the pikeman needs help in the water, this caravel can come up and represent. But this caravel moves a lot quicker, so I might come down here and clear up the south visibility and then maybe like trace up through there or something like that. I don't know, we'll have to see how the timing goes. Oh, whoops, I got one more movement point. Alright. So this is the half-hour mark. A lot going on. I don't like leaving cliffhangers. Kind of like with Germany, I ended parts after wars were over. But considering I did rewind once and then took a step back once, it might be better just to take a quick breath, take a look at things, make sure everything's on par. So even though this is just going to be done in 3 turns, I'd rather just end it here, and that way I don't find myself in a position where I'm putting you guys through yet another Groundhog Day. So, thank you so much for joining me. I hope this is worth your time. I want you guys to enjoy the rest of your day. Please keep those comments coming. They are so helpful, so appreciated. I cannot express it enough. You guys have shaped this series, and I'm really proud of that. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next part. Take care.